Hello and welcome to Sage Thyme. I'm Lillian. This is your reading for the sign of Leo. Wherever it's placed in your natal chart, whatever planets, asteroids, aspects are affecting it, or if you simply don't know, don't care, but you're glad to be here, let's be here. We're in our hearts, our minds are clear, our feet are grounded, we can feel the roots of our body, of our energy moving down through our body, through the base, down through the legs, out through the feet, into the earth, our core, to the earth's core, to the sun. I don't know why I did all that, but it feels right? It feels good. Leo is ruled by the planet, not planet, but is ruled by the sun. That's coming in big today, of course. I mean, we're talking about the sign of Leo. Leo, the self-embodied brilliance that radiates, not because they think they're so great. There's a quiet dignity with an aligned aspect of a Leo, or the aligned aspect of Leo within us. But it's empowered, embodied brilliance. So, of course, we are at the beginning of the summer season here in the Northern Hemisphere, so we don't officially until June 21st enter summer, but we're out in the sun, hopefully, feeling the warmth and the radiance, the codes and the messages, the invigoration. And sometimes the notion of simply resting in the shade, in the shadow of something else, while it soaks in the sun and the brilliance, leaning on the trunk of a tree perhaps, and letting it tell you its messages of its empowerment, its embodiment, and how it does it, how it goes about it, and all the languages that it speaks. I don't know. We're just kind of going with what comes out now. Well, I don't know that I've ever done anything less. Okay, so there's a book called The Sun and Her Flowers by Rupi Kaur. Oops, let's bring that in. And it's a wonderful little book. It was gifted to me a few years back by my daughter. And, you know, I was flipping through. Usually I find something right away that strikes me. But as I was trying a couple of different lines and stanzas of her poetry, it's all poetry, I was feeling this like, that poem feels too needy, that poem feels so like codependence, like love songs from the 80s or something. I mean, not to put her down, I love her work, but that's how I was feeling as I was reading it. So of course, if I wasn't paying attention, I would think, oh, that's her writing. That wasn't necessarily it, but I do feel like it is something that you have really moved out of. And I'm also hearing now that there are still some threads of that web, that design of my life is better if I'm with somebody, if I'm partnered, I'm whole if I'm partnered. I'm hearing that there are still some threads of that web, that pattern within you, but you're aware of it. Because as I kept kind of hitting a couple of poems that made me feel like that, and I was like, no. And I very consciously said, that's enough of that, like, I need you, I can't live without you kind of theme, which again wasn't really what she was writing. And so I found a really great little mini poem of hers, and then I marked it, and I went to the back of the book, and there was this little about the book, and I'm going to read that first, and then we'll go to the little stanza. And this is of course all important because it's always important. So this says, The Sun and Her Flowers, title of the book, is a collection of poetry about grief, self-abandonment, honoring one's roots, love, and empowering oneself. It is split into 5 chapters: wilting, falling, rooting, rising, and blooming. And you know, it's funny, wow, first of all, because when I saw that, I barely even glanced at it, and I just knew that was it, marked the page, moved on. I thought I read it, but I really didn't. Because now as I'm reading it, I'm going, oh, this is so exactly it for today's Leo reading. It's about grief, self-abandonment, honoring one's roots, love, and empowering oneself. It is a split into 5 chapters. 5, loss or change, often is the symbolism of that in the tarot. Wilting, falling, rooting, rising, and blooming. So here's the little poem. What is it with you and your sunflowers? He asks. I point to the field of yellow outside. Sunflowers worship the sun, I tell him. Only when it arrives do they rise. When the sun leaves, they bow their heads in mourning. That is what the sun does to those flowers. It's what you do to me, the sun and her flowers. And I feel this sense of, yes, and now it means something different to me. The he that she discusses is the sun within her, right? Leo carries the sun within them, that masculine inertia of energy, self-generating, radiating, brilliant light that gives life, that the sunflowers raise their heads to and follow the face of a sunflower, right? It'll follow the sun as it moves across the sky throughout the day, and then bows its head in mourning, in reverence. And Leo, this is the journey of acquiescence, of yourself. Okay. Wow, you're on the precipice of something that really is not something that has words or conversation yet. It's what I'm hearing. And I don't even know that you're going to need to say it, because it's a brilliance that is so ineffable and yet not overpowering or overbearing. It's simply ineffable because there doesn't need to be words for it. Because as you know, when something that significant is occurring outside or within both you and your life, words only limit what it is. So I'll be using words today to further describe what's going on. But I want to hear from you how you translate that brilliance of empowerment, the masculine momentum of energy that just exudes from you, from that core, and how it's doing this in a way that is so different than anything you've ever expected. And if it's not yet, if you're still detangling, disentangling, reweaving the webs away from a pattern of intense entanglement or codependence of another, not necessarily even any specific other, just of another. Tell me, what it might look like, feel like. Use your words and paint a picture for me today. I want to hear it. Okay, so let's do an overall from the Veritas Oracle. I love this deck. I don't use it so often. Maybe it doesn't want to talk. This deck was created by a wonderful, just very special gal and friend of mine in England, Victoria Neilson, and then she had her and her neighbor created this together. All right, so here we have relaxation. I love the art on this. And on the back of each card is a big long description. We'll wait on that till maybe the end. But this one says, relaxation, loosen your grip on the current situation, relax into it, and seek ways to enjoy the present. Ooh, okay, so I think I'm feeling into the theme of what you're going through or being called into, and that is that generating solar power, but doing it in a way that's so different. Doing it by relaxation, by playing on the beach, right? And just being random with all the random movements of the waves and tides and sand. And the sun is shining a light on your beautiful day. But it's the easement back into yourself that's generating the power within you. Ooh, spirit, I like it. And growth. Change can be painful. I'm sorry. I mean, right. You are growing out of old experiences. Delve deep into your emotions and don't be led into distraction. I love the drawing on this as well. Look at that sweet little lobster. Maybe he's molting a shell. Let's get me out of that. And the distraction is that hook, right? The bait and hook. Don't get distracted. Keep your feet on the floor. Oh my goodness. I love your energy today. Thank you for being here. Leo, sun signs, or person with Leo in your natal chart. I mean, that's all of you. So there. All right. Here's what we want to do. I'm going to, I guess we're already in it. I'm not even going to have a conversation about it. Okay, first card to come out, we're just going for it and seeing what happens, is the Three of Wands. And this is, it says at the top, it's about purpose. Let's see if it'll go in. There we go. Three of Wands. Now this to me looks like that's that power that I'm being called to speak to within you. But here this little fellow, this little patch tarot fellow, is seeing it from the third eye and creating a vision. Then you see a castle in the background. I don't know. You know, I can go on about... Let's draw some more cards. Oh, hold on. And now we've got Two of Wands, which is our resistance. But it also says up there in the upright position, Genesis. And that's what I was mentioning, I was called to discuss, is that generating, that self-generation. All right, let's keep doing a couple more. I want to see. So we've got... I'm just talking before I know things. Are you talking before you know things? might be time to ease back into that sense of relaxation. That could be part of the advice too, is that could be the distraction. Being able to speak and talk it out, that might be something that you do that is very therapeutic, and also a bit of a self-teaching mechanism for you. And that was what the grounding initial little mini visualization was about at the beginning. Okay, and I'm feeling myself being brought more into my sacral energy center as I'm saying that. And the crown came up in reverse. Let's bring that in for you. So you can take that all the way in. You can take a little screenshot if you want. So when we're self-generating, particularly something like in this case, we're discussing the sun, that masculine energy, radiance, and we're talking about generating it within ourselves, planting that sunflower seed, the sun, the seed of the sun, into our solar plexus. And how do you generate something like that? Like, that's a nice idea, to generate one's own vitality and life force and energy. So great, thanks for saying that, everybody. Now, how do you really do it? Well, of course, you hear me often, always, speak about that inner focus and entering the body's internal universe, because it's infinite, and it's so detailed and vast and complex, our inner universe. And the more we enter it by doing things, with our breath work and following our breath and focusing on pain or discomfort or sensations, or simply going in, getting into the state that we have cultivated, that brings us out of our mind, out of that thinking and pulling in downloads, that's the crown in reverse, and brings us down into our heart. But here we're talking about the sun generating solar. So how do we do that? Well, we cultivate it. And how do we cultivate it? We go in. I like to always start at the heart and spend time in that heart. To me, it is consistently an anchor and a touchstone of highest truth and purity for me, of intention. If my mind is getting involved, there's all kinds of factors of my own and others that are muddying the waters. So bringing it into the heart, getting that fully as my baseline, and then moving into that solar area. Self-confidence is a funny word. That's the solar plexus. Because self-confidence is, again, it's an ideal that can sound like a platitude. When people don't discuss what that looks like and feels like beyond the catch title, and then how to work with it, it's all good if someone says, well, you need to be more self-confident. Well, if you're not feeling self-confident in yourself, and there's a real depletion of that just sounds like a bunch of garbage. And then we start faking it till we make it. But the problem is when we fake something until we make it and we don't really know what it is, we're building a foundation on sand. To connect with something that we've lost or don't remember, or maybe never even had in this lifetime, possibly many lifetimes. If self-confidence has been symbolically or literally beaten out of you in some way, just trying to be it doesn't work. We end up being fake and false, and then perpetuating those cycles either again as the receiver, the victim of it, or the giver, the perpetrator of it. The cycles then patterns that are distorted and not whole, not complete. I'm getting teary as I say that. So that's something that you've really worked a lot with to prevent within yourself, preventing becoming the perpetrator of the things that were done to you. And whether that's gaslighting or marginalization or belittling, simply being cast out and not seen or loved, and the perception and even truth, cultivating the truth of unwantedness. And that's a form of cultivation. So let's cultivate self-confidence. Let's cultivate self-generation of vitality, a knowingness of being here and being right exactly as you are, as is, in this moment and in the next moment and in the moments before that too. In all the moments, it's exactly right. You're exactly on track, even when the track is full of potholes and roadkill and broken down vehicles and zombies in the distance. I don't know. This is where we're going, guys. Even if it's like that, let's generate, again, those tears. Let's generate the sense of self and be brilliant. Not because you need to do it externally. It doesn't need to be a show. You can simply and it's yours. It belongs to you, nobody else. That brilliance, that light, that radiant dignity of life-giving energy brought in from a most tiny, tiny little spark, so small perhaps that you have to travel really deeply into that region with your awareness, with your meditation, consciousness, your envisioning. Ah, there it is. Yeah, this little patch is envisioning a castle, something outside of him. And that brilliance, that sun is outside of him. You, I'm telling you, are creating that inside of you. And it's not a castle with a wall. It is a giant, fiery ball of glowing. Oh, yeah. Oh, Leo, I am enjoying you so much today. Thank you for being in this world. Oh, my goodness. So we're talking about cultivating, which is bringing our awareness, staying in that breath state until we feel a further, greater sense of alignment or presence, a stronger sense of ability to concentrate without sight, without visual sight, to seeing within. And for many, this takes a lot of practice. I think, honestly, for all of us, I know there's some who just boom, do it, but the ones that have to practice, the ones that have to do the steps, that take the time and work through the challenges, travel through the barbers, like the blackberries, and walk down the ditches and up and over walls. Those are the ones that when life happens and life throws poo balls at us and we're thinking everything's going great, the one who has done the work, the one that wasn't just born with it, it's not taken away from them so easily. It's not knocked off their table so readily. And if it is, if it's that big of a storm, you know exactly what you need to do to get it back because you've done it. you remember, and your whole beingness has that energetic muscle memory, so to speak. So cultivating your sun, your self-generating power. And then we got out the Two of Cups, which is perfect. You know, in the tarot world, we often like to see that Two of Cups as an external relationship, one with another, masculine and feminine, or it doesn't matter if what your gender is, that dynamic of complementing but somewhat opposite characteristics. Two individuals joining together, feeling fulfilled because look at them, they're growing a sunflower in the middle of the ocean. Why? Because they're together. And so we think that's what we need because we're told. And when we're told it, we feel all the energy of all the people in all of time, now and past, that have ever had feelings about that being a truth. And I'm here to tell you that that is not the only truth. And when you create it, when you create this within yourself, you know, in Chinese medicine, the left brain and other philosophies and so forth, schools of medicine, the left brain is the masculine, and then transverses right around the ear, and then the masculine moves to the right side of the body. So the right side is the masculine, and then the right brain traverses over to the left side of the body around the ear level, and the left side of the body is the feminine, the receiving part. So you can work with your body in that aspect too, in your being, and knowing that there is, and it presents itself. When I have things going on the left side of my body, I'll look to find the discomfort, and then I'll follow the trail. I'll go to the discomfort, I'll spend time with it, focus, and participate in the whole routine of hopefully transmuting it. And then once that's done, if there's another source, I'll follow it, and it'll go through my body, or it'll go through opening up emotions and memories, some of my life, some of other, I don't want to say past lives, because time is glitchy like that, other lives, other timelines, and other dimensional lives. Anyway, I digress. I go into that, and so I'm keeping in mind when I'm on that left side of the body, does this have to do with a feminine aspect? Feminine in terms of yin, darkness, form, cool, creative, creation in form, nourishment, nurturing, there's on and on, all the things of the feminine. And then also it can be less elusive and be more, you know, is this related to a sister wound, a mother wound, a witch wound, a patriarchy wound, no wound, it's just there, you know, all the things. And sometimes having that interplay with the feminine and the masculine will serve as benchmarks along the blueprint of what I'm trying to uncover that is my true self. A blueprint that incorporates and infuses the masculine and the feminine within, and brings those two together to create that inner weave and that flower that is the whole self. The whole self that can homogenize the masculine and feminine, and there are times when that's really beneficial. But just like the universe itself creates different things and ways to exist, to know itself, to learn about itself and who and what it is, and we are all participating in that great creation and theatrical performance. Just like the universe does that, it is also wonderful for us to have separate parts. It's great to have kidneys and a heart and a brain and a digestive system and toes. And it's also really important to unify them, to bring them back into a co-collaborative harmonization, so that they can then again be separated, segregated, and work separately together in that more harmonious way. Good daddy. We like this. Planets associated with the Two of Cups, or the planet is Venus, and then the constellation of Cancer. Is there anything more that wants to be said about that? I don't think so. I want to try to keep this not so long, even though we're already at the 30-minute mark, but I do want something to wrap this up. Something to bring this all together, Spirit. For Leo, and for those watching with Leo in their chart, which is all of you. All right, let's see what this has to say. So we got the Eight of Cups. Keyword being renunciation. Saturn is the planet and Pisces is the constellation. Why did this come up? All right, let's get one more so I can have some clarification. And it flew. Okay, that makes sense. So, Eight of Cups. I guess we are going to go towards a longer reading here, and that's all right. If you like it and you love the information, or you're inquisitive and curious enough to stick with it, we're doing this. All right, so here the Patch is in the distance with his back turned to 5 broken cups. They're different colors, they're cracked, so they're different aspects of his past. And he's headed down the path into the great unknown in the mountainous terrain. Of course, he doesn't see the 3 above that are floating, and they're whole and they're illuminated, but he's still going forward. And he has renounced what fulfilled him in the past. And then what came out to support that card? Because after everything we're talking about, self-generating, empowerment, and then we get this heavy, 8 of Cups, leaving that 5 of Cups in the past. So there are still threads of the web of the pattern that no longer serves what you're moving into. It's really tough to let those go. I get it. When we don't see a paradigm that is beyond ours or maybe even anybody's understanding yet, and we're on this journey alone, and most likely, most definitely likely, there are hundreds of thousands of people, maybe even in the millions at this point, that are on the exact same point of their journey as yours, and they're leaving that behind, but it's still, they can feel it at their back, and they can turn and look, and it's still back there. They don't know where they're going, and they're like, how am I supposed to generate something that I can't even see, that I don't even know? How am I supposed to work with that? And the card The Way came out, and it came out in reverse. So again, at first I was very bummed. I'm going to show it to you in reverse. But if you can see here down by my finger, the word that goes with The Way, which is also the definition of the word the Tao, the word right there is trust. So turning the way on its head, upside down. See that flower of life in the middle? That's a pattern we're not working with. It's beautiful, that's great, it served its purpose, but it's all kinked and quirky now. So we're turning the way that was on its head, emptying our mind, moving forward into the vast unknown, but remaining internally focused within the heart, within that solar plexus, grounded and anchored through the base of our feet into the earth, opening our mind to the consciousness of the cosmos without getting our thinking mind involved, right? Opening ourselves to that and letting it flow. Trust, that's trust. Does it mean there aren't going to be some like really muddy puddles that we step in or trip over some more blackberry vine bushes? It doesn't mean that that's not going to happen. It's honestly most likely to happen, but the more we have that internal attunement and focus, the more we're doing the steps, taking the measures as they present themselves. We're now navigating what that path is because we're creating it. So if we get knocked off of our direction, our way, we know what we need to do to get back on that path, the new path, not the path that Grandpa Joe told you was the path, not the path that cousin Sally, I guess she's from the South, or he, is telling you to do. Not what the grand university that you used to attend or always wanted to attend is saying the way it is, and certainly not what Google says. You are carving a path within yourself that moves outside of yourself with your internal focus, with your eyes closed. Not truly, you really are seeing what's going on around you, but your focus while being a witness, the focus and engagement is within. That's what we were trying to get to this whole time, and that's what you're doing. And that is the space where you will grow as you relax into it. No bait and hook, no bait and switch. Relax, let the tides take you. The more you relax, when the tides get all crazy and the waves start knocking you about, you ease into that relaxation, you fill your body with breath, and you lean back and you float. That's what keeps you safe, and it gets you where you need to get without expending unnecessary energy, so that when you are in a place where you can get a foothold onto the sand beneath you, you have the strength to do it. Okay, my friends, we did it. Leo, you guys rock. And let's do this. Let's cultivate this power more and more. We're all only exactly where we are. So I know this is for me too. I want to hear about it. I want to share with you, and we'll be discussing it more, I'm sure. Have a blessed day, my friends. You rock.